Good evening, everyone. I call this meeting of the West Dallas West Milwaukee School Board to order. Mr. Verbos, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And Sarah, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Becker,
Here.
Mr. Keller,
Here.
Ms. Carr,
Here.
Mr. Verbos,
Present.
Mr. Lee,
Here.
Ms. Kaiser,
Here.
Ms. Steele,
Here.
Ms. Lee, here, President Burns.
Present. Proper notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the open meeting laws of the state of Wisconsin. Do we have any modifications to the agenda tonight?
There are no modifications.
All right, then that will take us right into our student showcase from Hoover. Welcome, and go ahead and take it over.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having us. I'm Courtney Vang, the principal at Hoover, and I'm going to have us go through and do some introductions really fast of which students and the teacher we brought with us, and then we'll jump into our showcase. So, Ms. Supple, you want to kick us off?
I'm Caitlin Supple, and I'm a third grade teacher at Hoover.
My name is Audrina.
My name is Zoe.
My name is Callie.
And my name is Dallas.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having us tonight. So we're going to be showcasing today our third grade podcast and a couple of reasons why we're going to be talking about that today. First off, Miss Supple and her third grade podcast was selected to present at the Wisconsin Association of School Boards. So if you happen to be at the WASB event in January, we will have a booth there where we will be showcasing the work that we've done on our podcast over the past school year, as well as this year. And then we'll also be doing live interviews. And I say we as in not me, it'll be Miss Supple and her students who are going to be doing some live interviews in the moment. So feel free to swing by there, send them some love, or send some other school board counterparts over to them. So we thought it would be a really good idea to just share a little bit about this project with you guys, especially before you see it at WASB. It's also just been a really cool part of the Hoover community the past year and a half. And this year we've been focusing a lot on our priority standards and really making sure that those are coming up time and time again for students, and that when students leave a particular grade level, they've really mastered those particular priority standards. And I think the podcast does a great job, as you'll see in a couple of slides, at not only helping iterate those priority standards for students, but it's doing it in such a real world, authentic way. And students have such great opportunities to meet some outside people and build some soft skills that I think are really going to carry with them throughout their life and their educational career. So excited to share a little bit of a little bit about the experience with you guys and to have our students speak a little bit about their experiences as well.
Thanks, Ms. Vang. So on the left here in the photo, you'll see that's my class this year. That's a part of the podcast. In the middle, you'll see some of the joy on the students' faces using all the equipment. And then on the right is my class from last year, and that's the group that sort of spearheaded this with me. Here are some photos of some guests and the equipment that we use. We had DZ on last month. He is the co-host of the morning show on KISS FM, and he also is the Milwaukee Bucks hype man. So if you've ever been to a Bucks game and you hear the guy getting the crowd all ready, that's him. So that was super cool. This was our co-owner of the Bread Peddlers, Skylar. She came in to talk to our class last year about what it means to own a small business, run a small business, just be a part of a business in general. Then we had Dr. Robinson on last year. He was our second interview, so that was super cool to sort of hear what a superintendent does. The kids thought it was really cool that he was the boss of Miss Vang. And then last week we had Mr. Joseph Arndt come in. He is an author, and he wrote a book about walking in other people's shoes. So that went with our SEL about empathy and what it means to be empathetic. And then we're also writing folk tales right now. So he gave us kind of some tips and tricks on how to create stories. And then this just showcases some of our equipment that we use. It started with just one mic that 3 people would have to share. And then we now have the mini mics where we can sort of travel around and ask people questions and record. And now we have 2 microphones, 2 headphones, a soundboard where I can sort of make things louder, softer, change voices. So it's been really cool to see sort of that grow, and also a learning experience for myself of having to learn the new technology. So why the podcast? It came to me because I wanted to offer some unique and meaningful experiences for my students, but I didn't really know where to start. So I went to my mentor teacher and asked what I can do to make those experiences. And she gave me the simple yet very powerful advice of just ask them, ask what they want to learn, ask what they want to do this year. And I asked them, and they gave me a variety of responses, ranging from weather to animals to history to sports. And I was kind of stuck in square one of how do I reach those individual needs and interests. And we use Seesaw at Hoover, which is like an academic platform where students are able to record themselves. I post pictures on it. They comment. They send me messages. And it was really cool to see the love of recording themselves. And even my quietest students that don't really like to share out whole group, they have a lot to say too. And giving them that platform to share it was super cool for me to see that, okay, they love recording themselves and their voices sound so cute on recordings. It is so fun to listen to. So I kind of had the idea for the podcast, and it took me going to my innovation coach and kind of learning how that happens, because a podcast is a great idea, but where do I start? And then the students were also hesitant because they didn't really know a lot about what a podcast is. So we had to do a bunch of background research, and we had to kind of look, what is a podcast? What are common podcasts that maybe kids listen to? And then once I brought out the microphones, they were sold because they thought that was very cute gadgets that they wanted to use. And then we kind of decided what it wanted to be about. When Miss Vang and Miss Hendrickson came to Hoover last year, they really instilled at Hoover the core values of Spike's Way. And we talk about it every day in the announcements. We do incentives around it. It's really something that has changed our school culture. So we kind of wanted to dive into those core values and then have our third graders become experts on that. And they really have taken it as their own. My class last year and this year, we're constantly talking about Spike's Way and what that means, what that looks like, sounds like, feels like, and then where we can also follow Spike's Way, not only in the classroom, but at specials, at lunch, at recess, and then outside of school. We really do a lot of real world purpose for reading, writing, speaking, and listening. We learn what an active listener is. We learn how we want to talk slow, and we can make sure that we're heard. Students are doing a great job of really using those skills in the classroom. And then also when we have the guests come in, we have really good high engagement. This is an optional thing, but all 21 of my students last year wanted to be a part of it. And then all 23 of my students this year are also a part of it. They love it. Whenever I get the equipment out, they're asking, when is it my turn? I want to go. I want to go. So it's been really great to see their enthusiasm around this as well. And then we also have an authentic audience. I'm sending this to families so that they can listen to. I'm sending it to the community by posting it on social media. The people that are our guests, I'm sending it to them. So they're really taking it and listening and giving us really great feedback. And then we're able to problem solve, collaborate, plan, and practice. Students really do a great job of solving third grade problems and being able to come together and compromise to find a solution. But the podcast really overall has been such a great experience for me and my students. I never expected it to take off the way that it has. We had Natalie Shepard from CBS 58 come in last year. We interviewed her, and then she came in and did a whole feature on us on Natalie's Everyday Heroes. That was on CBS 58. And then last year, we also interviewed the editor of Scholastic News Edition 3, and we will actually be featured in Scholastic News in 2026. So that'll be distributed through all schools in the U.S., which is super cool.
Interviewing locals, professionals, and celebrities. This year, we have interviewed DZ, an author and Supreme Court Justice.
Focus on Hoover core values, respect, helpfulness, kindness, and collaboration, and also make academic connections with Spike's Way. Guest speak with whole class about the role, how they relate to a specific topic. Like this year, we interviewed DZ. He came into the class, he sat down. All of third grade asked questions, he answered them. Then we sat down and did the actual podcast.
Students pair interview guests afterwards, ask specific questions relate to our core values like following Spike's Way.
Miss Supple edits the podcast in her own time and posts it on Spotify for us to hear and follow Miss Supple's class on Spotify. Hoover Podcast, Miss Supple's Third Grade Class.
Yes,
Just
please
a
give
little
us a
plug.
follow.
We want more followers. So as I mentioned before, we want to make sure this was tied back to the priority standards. I won't go through all of them up there, but those are just some of the examples of the ELA standards that the podcast touches on. And I think as you read through those, you can see that through the writing of the questions, the talking about the action research. They do research on the people that are coming to the podcast and what their roles are, what their background is, in order to ask them those questions. They have to think on their toes. So we hit a lot of the speaking and listening skills. And I think one of the students will mention in a little bit just how some of the guests have given them feedback on how they're conducting the interviews and how to be a good listener and speaker. And then I'll pass it over to Ms. Supple, who's going to talk a little bit more about, in addition to the ELA priority standards that kind of seem a little bit more that this clearly connects right back to the ELA standards. She also connects this to the science and social studies standards through the different guests that they bring on.
So students really lead the charge for who we have on the podcast. They give me millions of ideas throughout a course of a week of who they would like on the podcast. So we really tie it into what we're learning. So for science, we were learning about hazardous weather, and we were talking about what a meteorologist does, and they were really curious about that. Some of them have never even heard of a meteorologist. So I reached out to TMJ4, and then Kristen Kerchain came in and presented to all of third grade about what a meteorologist does and what hazardous weather is and how we can protect ourselves from it. And then she was also interviewed on the podcast. So that was super cool. And then last year for our government unit, our students were really interested in what a mayor and a governor does. So we had Mayor Devine on, and then they wanted me also to reach out to Governor Evers. And I was definitely not expecting any of it, but Governor Evers came to our school, and it was a super cool opportunity for him, not only to talk to our third grade class and be on the podcast, but he also was able to visit other classrooms at Hoover. So it was a really great community event. And then this year, my class for government, we were a little more interested in judges and what a Supreme Court is and how a Wisconsin Supreme Court is different than a United States Supreme Court. And a teacher at my school went to college with Supreme Court Justice Brian Hagedorn. So she reached out to him, and then he came on the podcast to sort of talk about what his role is and what a typical day as a Wisconsin Supreme Court justice does. So I'll kind of go over the student impact that I see from the podcast as a classroom teacher, and then the students wrote how the podcast has impacted them. So then they'll share. I've really seen a confidence in speaking and presentation abilities. They do a great job of, being active listeners and being having a conversation. Audrina does a really great job. She interviewed DZ last month, and we have a whole script presented, and she's been practicing. She practiced so much. But then when he came, and based on his response, she asked a follow-up question, which is something that we're really focusing on. And so that just shows that she's using those active listening skills and then being confident enough to ask that question. It teaches research skills and digital literacy because we, like Ms. Vang said, we research the person that's coming in a lot. We do background knowledge, so we know what their job is, what their day-to-day life might look like, sort of maybe how they grew up, if that's there. And then we prepare questions for them before they come in. And then Dallas over there is a part of our fun facts section every podcast. So him and Parker, his co-host, will go off in the classroom and research their own fun facts and make sure that it's fact checked before it comes to me. And then we plan their script. So they're really just taking that and spearheading it themselves. It really strengthens their communication and collaboration. Like I said, they're solving third grade problems and they're doing a great job at it. You're not always going to agree with your partner, but compromise is a big thing, and you need to be able to communicate that, your wants and needs, but also understand that your partner has wants and needs too. And that's what a teamwork is. And then it connects learning to real life. Our core values of respect, kindness, collaboration, and helpfulness are values that students will use not only at Hoover, but so on and so forth in their adult life. And it's really great that they're able to kind of see what that's going to look like in a classroom setting, but also just in a life setting. And then we're also able to have community experiences by Students are able to see different professions. They're able to see that they can be anything that they want to be. And it's been a really great community experience. When we interviewed Allie last year, she invited me on to KISS FM. So I was able to promote the podcast, Hoover, West Dallas, West Milwaukee. And then when DZ came on, they did a whole segment the next day about how great the podcast was. So it's been a great community builder. Students love seeing themselves on social media with it, and we get a lot of great feedback. So it's been a great community experience. Then these are just some of the few people that we've had on too. Like I said, we had Mayor Devine on for our government unit last year. Natalie Shepard came for Natalie's Everyday Heroes. Allie Faith came on. She really talked about making sure that interview is a conversation, not just answering like, oh, cool. We had Governor Evers on, so that was a cool interview. You can kind of see there how we had one mic that was just plugged into my computer. We had author Joseph Arndt on to talk to us about folk tales. DZ was on. You can see we have some more equipment now. We had Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice, and then our first episode of season 2, which is this year, was Ms. Fang to kind of kick off what the school year is going to look like and how we can set up our school year for success. Oops. So now it's your turn because we decided to bring the podcast on the road for a first ever podcasting at a board meeting. So the students will have some questions and I'll just come around with the mic.
Do you want to have them while you're getting the mics ready, Supple? The kids, I wanted the students to share a little bit about what they've learned on the podcast, both what kind of fun facts have they learned, but also like what skills have they learned while being a part of this. Each of the kids up here has already done an individual interview with one of the special guests. So I think it'd be really great to have them share a little bit. So while she's getting the mics ready and you can think of some answers about yourselves, we'll have them share a little bit. So the first question I want you guys to answer is, what have you learned while doing the podcast? Like, what kind of fun facts or pieces of information have you learned while being a part of this? Zoe, I think you're first up, Zoe. No pressure.
I learned as Supreme Court Justice how to be elected, and they learn a lot about the laws. Listen to the guests and don't talk over them.
Nice.
It taught me that I can be anything when I grow up. I also learned that you could do hard stuff and believe in yourself.
And I will name this first answers they came up with themselves. We typed this first one up so that they can read it, but the next one is going to be off the cuff, so get ready. All right.
I can be an author even if I don't have the ideas. I can think of them, and I can be brave when I'm talking in front of a lot of adults and respond when they're done talking.
I learned about how to follow Spike's way better. I learned how to give eye contact to people when I'm talking in front of a lot of adults. Oh, my bad. I learned about how to follow Spike's way better. I learned how to give eye contact to people when I am talking to them. I also learned that we are always learning something new. It's not like we're having random people on the podcast. We're having very important people on the podcast.
Not random people. So you guys are just so you know, you're very important. All right. So the next question I want to ask you guys is, when you think of the skills, so not the facts, you kind of shared, here are some facts I learned while doing the podcast. When you think of what are the skills that you have learned how to do better because of the podcast? So once you have an answer, let me know and we'll pass the mic to you. Somebody over there want to go first? You want one mine, Supple?
What?
Is somebody over there ready?
Sure.
Okay.
Ready?
You ready? Okay, you ready? Okay.
I ask follow questions.
So you learned to ask follow-up questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dallas is ready if I want to buy Zoe some time. All right, Dallas.
What I learned is that DG, he's a Bucks game hype host, and he's on the KISS FM morning show. That you can talk in front of lots of people.
Not be nervous, right? You got something, Cal? Not yet? Okay. About what skills have you learned how to do that? Okay. You want to go?
What skills I've learned better on the podcast is to talk to people because sometimes I kind of hide in my shell. But since we've been doing the podcast, it's kind of opened my mind to talk to people.
That's great.
I learned that Miss Vang is a principal at Hoover School, and she helps kids that's not following directions, and she can help them when they're not listening, and then they can go back on the group plan. And I learned that Miss Vang got 2 kids.
There you go. Sure do. All right. So next I want to ask you guys, what have you enjoyed about the podcast? What have you liked doing about that? What's been fun? You want to go first?
What's been fun is interviewing someone new.
What's been fun about the podcast is
You want to think?
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay.
What I learned that is we can learn new stuff and believe in ourselves. I enjoyed that when I was talking to Ms. Vang. I was waiting for her to ask questions, and then when I got to ask questions, I was asking her stuff like what she has been doing, and then she was asking me questions.
All right, you're up.
what I've enjoyed about the podcast is that we're always having new people on the podcast, and that's just very fun.
Important people, right? Okay. All right. How's our tech? We're ready? All right. So the kids have prepared some questions for you guys, and you're going to be featured on our next podcast. So we have a traveling mic. Callie's going to pass it around to you guys, and we just ask, each of them has some questions they've come up with. So they'll say the question in the mic, and then if you like to answer, you can raise your hand. Callie will come around to you. You're welcome. More than one person can answer each of the questions if you'd like. Hopefully they're not too hard.
And then please just make sure you talk into the mini mics.
Okay.
With this one?
Yep.
Don't
No,
style
this one
it.
right here. What's your job? Right down here. Oh, yeah. There you go. All right. So what's the first question?
What is your job?
He's taking the first one. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mic as well. I have to double mic up. I actually, I own a business. I own a bar and restaurant that I manage with a business partner that I've worked at for 20 years that I took over owning 6 years ago. So I cook, I serve, I run around, I clean, I do lots of dirty work so that other people can make a lot of money.
Nice.
What time do you have to wake up?
Oh, it depends on the day. Sometimes I work in the morning. I wake up at 8 a.m. and I go there, and I work during the day. Other days, I can sleep a little later and I don't work until 4 or 5 o'clock at night.
Do you have any pets?
I do actually. We have, we have 2 rats and we have 4 salamanders.
What are their names?
Oh, man. What are they? Swiss and Spooky are the rats, I believe. The salamanders, man. Frick and Ted, and then the other 2 don't have names. I don't know.
Okay, wait, let's Trina do hers. Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I'll keep thinking of some follow-ups if we have more time. Okay. Here, him. Okay.
What is a hard day for you like?
What is a hard day for you like?
A hard day in my life is a Monday because I teach 4th grade. And so It's a little hard to want to get up and go to school on a Monday morning, and my schedule changes every day. We're on a little kind of a different schedule, A, B, C, D, E days. So trying to figure out what day we're on and what my partner teacher and I are going to teach, it kind of changes a lot. So I have to be ready for it at all times.
That's cool. What's the best and least favorite part of your job?
Well, the best part of my job is I love working with kids and I love learning every day. The worst part of my job is you get to spend a whole year with your students and then you have to give them up for the next year. And then, you do miss your kids when they go across the hall. That's a big change.
Wait, what was I about to say?
I'll give it a whirl. Oh, thank you. As far as things that are difficult, or like if something goes wrong, you can do something really well and you can perform your job well, but if somebody else doesn't do their job well, then it doesn't matter. The result is still bad. So that's difficult. What was the first part again? Remind me. When things go well, I work in healthcare, so I work on the business side. So if we do our job well and our partners do their job well, then everybody wins. You get healthier patients, you get less expensive care, and it works for everybody. So
The hardest part about your job, is it very hard for you?
yeah, it's difficult. No matter how many times you have that. Like I played a lot of team sports growing up and I have brothers and sisters. So sometimes like in school, if you're doing well, but somebody else isn't, and you still have to listen to your teacher having a conversation with them, that feels difficult sometimes. And doesn't change. Yeah.
At Hoover, we follow Spike's way, a part of showing respect. How do you show respect as a board member?
This is a good question. How do you show respect as a board member? Is that right? Okay.
Wait, she can say it again because we didn't catch that one on our.
Oh, okay.
One more time. Oh, no, okay. It's fine. You can just say it in this one because this is the one that's going to catch up the podcast.
At Hoover, we follow Spike's way. A part of that is showing respect. How do you show respect as a board member?
So there's a lot of different ways that you can show respect, and it can be like bringing you guys in here to show us what you're doing. It can be being responsive to our constituents with emails, with talks when we're out and about and seeing them. And I think at the end of the day, when you can really be successful at it is when you are making those people feel heard. And that's how you can show people respect, I think.
You're up on the next one.
Are you a fan of the Bucks and the Packers, and what sport do you like?
A fan of the Bucks and the Packers. And what sports do I like? So I think that living in Wisconsin, being a fan of those teams is obligatory. You must be a fan. And then what sports do I like? I like all kinds. I used to wrestle. I played football in college and I do the martial arts. So I don't know. I can't decide often. I like doing whatever's new.
Little hurt that thank you. I'm a little hurt that the Brewers weren't part of that question. So I'm a big baseball guy. Although I do like football and basketball. I am a Packer fan. I am a Bucks fan. Yesterday was heartbreaking on both fronts. But yeah, I'm a big local sports fan. I've even enjoyed some of the like the Admirals and things like that, but I enjoy more of the the major league sports as opposed to the minor leagues, although those are fun too.
I feel like you're ready to say something.
We went to an Admirals game for a field trip. They won.
See, that's always fun. I've been to a couple Admirals games where they have post-game concerts too, and they're usually retro. Well, retro for us, really retro for you guys, but usually that's a good time too.
How does it feel to be a board member at the district, and how do you get to be a board member?
Well, first, I'll answer how you become a board member. So you have to be elected to be a board member. So first thing you have to do is you have to get 100 people to sign a petition saying that they want you to be on the ballot. So you have to go around and ask people if they would sign it so that you can be on the ballot. Then once you're on the ballot, then people have to vote for you, and you have to get the most votes. And there are always 3 people that are getting voted in at all times. So now we'll have an election every year, and 3 people will get voted in. And then you serve a 3-year term. I think that, I have a particularly interesting background because I used to teach at Hoover, and I used to be a teacher in the district. And so one of the things that is very different as when you're a teacher, you just kind of do your teacher things in your building, and you're all about your building and your kids. And when you become a board member, you're about everybody. You're about every single child in the whole district, and every staff member, and every administrator, and all the people in the city. And so you have to have a much wider viewpoint, and you have to be willing to really listen to other people's viewpoints. So that's one of the major differences.
What grade did you teach?
Oh my goodness. So I hung a lot in 4, 5, 6, depending on the numbers. So I was a 4th, 5th, or 6th grade teacher. And then the last 10 years, I was an instructional coach. So who's the instructional coach at your school? I want to say Miss Amanda. I can't think of your last name, but I just know you as Amanda. Yep. So I had her job.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. It was.
Have you ever went out of the country before?
Yes. Anyone who hasn't spoken, or go?
Yes, I have been out of the country before. I've been to the Dominican Republic and I've been to Jamaica.
That's really cool. How was it being in Jamaica and the other one?
Dominican Republic. It was very different weather. So it was very tropical there. And the beaches are very nice there, which is why I had gone, but very different than here in Wisconsin.
Were you there with your friends and family?
It was with my wife, yes.
What do you do as a board member?
So I'll answer that. So a board member has a lot of different things that we do, but the biggest thing is the overarching running of the district. So policies in relation to the rules that happen within the schools, things like approving curriculum, like what you learn in math and what you learn in English, what you learn in science. So we have one employee as school board members, and that is Dr. Robinson. He's the only person that we, as a board, a majority of the board, is responsible for evaluating and directing. And then it's his responsibility to make sure that what the board has passed for policies, for rules, and for curriculum, those things are done appropriately according to those rules. So that's kind of the overarching role that school board members have.
So that's all we have for you guys. Do you have any other questions for us before we wrap up or anything else you're wondering about?
So after all of your experience with this podcast, has this helped to make you, or for you to make a decision as to maybe what you want to do in the future?
Yes, it has.
What?
And what are you wanting to do?
I'm wanting to be like a basketball player and a football player.
Okay.
Bucks hype man, yeah.
Yes.
The next TZ.
No. Zoe had an answer earlier,
Oh.
right?
What I want to be when I grow up is a doctor.
She said, but you said, what did you say after my interview, Zoe? She said a doctor or maybe a principal. So that's what I said. Oh yeah.
You guys, I thought I heard you asking a couple times or talking about things that were difficult, but were still enjoyable. What was your favorite thing that was difficult that you ended up really enjoying about?
Something difficult was like trying to pay attention to that person and trying to like read it, the papers.
What been difficult for me was to remember the words.
Audrina practiced very, very hard for her interview, and you could tell her confidence shone bright.
Well, it was hard for me because and then I had to look at the mic. And I had to put my mouth by the mic, and I needed to look at the paper so I could see what the words were.
So kind of looking at what you have to say, but also making eye contact with Ms. Fang. Yeah, that's tricky.
What's difficult, but I also enjoyed. What was difficult for me is that talking to the adults, because sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking, but then also at the end, I enjoyed it.
That's great stuff, you guys. That's all really important stuff. I always tell my kids it's tough to start the hard work, but it's always worth it.
You have another question?
Mm-hmm. Do you have to be elected to be a board member?
Yep.
Ms. Garcia had to get all those signatures to get on the ballot, and then people vote on that ballot.
What is ballot?
It's like the running record of who's going to be elected.
Oh.
See how many great questions this sparks?
Other questions from the board? Any or comments? Yeah.
The thing that I really like about this is when you were talking about like doing research and like verifying and, and making sure everything is accurate. And especially because you're talking third grade. I mean, this is very young for this sort of work. And it's really impressive to see how, at least, I mean, just the kids that are here right now, like how well they've really dug into this. It's some really advanced kind of stuff, and seeing how well it allows them to develop socially. I mean, for third graders, they're really, really comfortable and sort of enjoying the experience here. I just thought I thought it was a really, really cool idea, and like the details, the little details of how it's affecting development, I think are really, really impressive. So way to go.
Well, I just have to give props to you and your last year's class and this year's class just for this entire idea, this concept. I have 4 kids that have two that have officially gone through and exited the district now, and 2 that are finishing up. And it's just so great to see this person-to-person conversation and stuff, because even my kids, even the older ones are like, there isn't as much of that these days. It's screens, it's screen time and stuff. And so the life skills that you kids are learning that will last you forever and ever are amazing. And you can't put a price on that. So I just think, and yet you're having so much fun with it. You probably don't even realize all the things that you're learning while you're doing it. So I really hope that this catches on all over the place. You know, when Scholastic comes out and reads about what you guys are doing, that more schools do it. I just think it is, some of it's kind of a lost art that we don't get as much time to do anymore as what we used to. So great job, you guys. Keep doing it.
And huge shout out to Miss Supple. I made a couple of the slides and put in there that she does this on her own time. It's a lot of work outside of school for her to like do all the editing, but her just coming up with this idea. I was a former high school teacher, and I feel like I had high schoolers who couldn't do this or would find this very difficult. So the fact that she's doing it with third graders, you really do see all of the skills that they're learning, as you said, and just so many soft skills that as educators we're always wondering, how do we teach those things to kids? It's a little bit easier sometimes to teach the facts of something, but to teach them person-to-person skills can be really difficult to find how to do that in a real world setting that kids actually enjoy. And I feel like she's tapped into that and really found some unique opportunities, not only to give our students, but then to showcase our school in the district. So I think we're really lucky to have Caitlin leading the charge here and providing this opportunity. And one thing I was going to mention that she didn't say in her component or her part of this was also the parent to school connection that this helps with. So when kids are when they come up with the questions, they've done their research, given their script, they also go home and they're practicing this with families. So it helps bring our families into the spotlight as well to help understand, how can they support their student. And shout out to our families who brought our lovely speakers today too. And we're really excited to see them showcase today. But I think that's a piece too that can sometimes get overlooked. That's really important.
Do you like Patrick Mahomes?
Oh, wait, Callie had a good one.
Do any of you like being a board member?
There you go. See? Yeah. It's one of those things I would imagine, as Joe said, that maybe it's hard, but you enjoy it and you learn something from it, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you.
Do we have more questions from the board?
I was just going to respond when you asked if we like to be board members. I think every one of us up here, we wouldn't have run if we didn't want to be board members. I think we're all here because we love our community and we want to do what's best for our staff, our students, and our families. So.
Well,
Thank you.
I did have one more question. Yeah. Come on. All right. So I did have one question because you guys all talked about how hard it is to ask questions of adults. Is it harder in here than it is in your classroom?
Is it harder? Is it harder because of the people sitting behind you? Is the real question. The audience is what gets you. Yeah.
So it's the audience, not us. It's us too. Oh. So it's just, and I wonder just because it's very different when you have control over your space versus when you don't. So in a new space, it's still taking those skills and that practicing you talked about. If you didn't notice Dr. Robinson flipping papers up here, he's practicing for his report that's coming up. So like this all still comes. All right. But the clapping and everything else, thank you so much for sharing with us. And thank you for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Also, thank you for the parents who are coming out tonight. It was a great presentation.
Yeah. All right. So as they get shifted out and commotion settles down, we've got Dr. Robinson's superintendent's report. And when you're ready, Dr. Robinson.
All right. Let it get up first. So we definitely have an abbreviated version tonight because we have an inclusion that I wanted to allow happen with our HR department. And so as I go through my report, first thing, there are no legislative updates for tonight. The West Islands West Milwaukee School District achieves Heart Safe School designation through Project Adam. We're proud to announce that all schools in our district have achieved the Heart Safe School designation through Project Adam, a nationwide initiative dedicated to preventing sudden cardiac death in children and adolescents. This important milestone ensures all schools are equipped and prepared to respond swiftly to cardiac emergencies, prioritizing the safety and well-being of our students and staff. You can learn more about Project Adam and what the designation means by reading the spotlight story in our monthly newsletter that was shared earlier this evening. All right. West Milwaukee Intermediate School, DeWalt 2's donation. We would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to Mr. Betcher from West Milwaukee Intermediate School, as well as his wife, for their dedicated efforts in securing this generous donation from DeWalt 2's. Their commitment and collaboration played a crucial role in making this happen. The contribution from DeWalt 2's will have a tremendous impact on our classroom, providing valuable resources that will enhance hands-on learning opportunities and better prepare our students for future success. We deeply appreciate their partnership and support in enriching the educational experience of our students. All right, now for our special presentation. This is the third year that we've really tried to take advantage of our interns while they're here. In other words, when I say take advantage of that opportunity that they're in our schools, okay? And I've always said, while they're here, we can't let them leave without giving them an opportunity to work for us. And so we have Dee here who has some other special guests. I'm gonna allow her to introduce, who's now leading that particular department. And we're gonna talk about now some of the things that we're doing with the pipeline, as well as some interns that are in the program currently and teachers who are supporting those interns. All right, so I'll turn it over to you, Dee.
Okay, thank you, everyone. This is the first time in before all of you, so thank you so much for having us. We'll be brief, but this is a really great celebration that I think is very community worthy. We are really fortunate in the school district here in West Allis, West Milwaukee School District to have a pipeline of interns and student teachers who serve first semester who are offered limited term contracts going into the second semester to become full-time teachers. These students are coming through our WIP program, which is a Wisconsin internship program. They get hired first semester as employees as they intern. Tonight I have Lisa Erickson with me. She is a mentor teacher and a veteran teacher, 31 years in our school district, and her intern is Emma Seamer. They both work at Wilson Elementary School, and they'll get a chance to talk to you just a little bit. We partner with UW-Whitewater, Alverno University, University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and others. So some of the things that you should know about the opportunities is that our interns and student teachers are now fully certified. They are all graduating this month, which is great. We are going to be employing them from January 27th all the way through the end of the contract on June 30th of this year. They make a salary just like anyone eligible for benefits. We are really excited that they do become employees. They can take advantage of not only our veteran and new teacher stewardship, building confidence, building skill, building relationships, but they can also fill in for our FMLA and maternity leaves. They can help us to support our daily staffing needs that we need, but more importantly, giving these young teachers the opportunity to try on different hats and figure out where they fit. They help us to reduce class sizes and build the student-teacher ratio so that we have more access to students and student achievement. They also have access to be able to fill full-time teacher vacancies sooner than the general population would. And so we'll go through a little bit of our data so far. I don't have extensive data, but I do have 2 years. The blue lines or blue bars represent the 24-25 school year. We had 11 interns last year. 8 of them stayed on through semester 2, and 4 of them took full-time contracted positions in our district. You have seen some of them before you this year, actually modeling their instruction. This year we had 12 interns, actually 14 interns. 12 of them did accept contracts. And we don't know how many we are going to be able to hire, but we are very hopeful that many of them will find positions in our school district. So it's very exciting. So with that, I'd like to present my colleague here, Lisa Erickson from Wilson Elementary School, and her intern, Emma Seamer, for just a brief introduction.
Good evening. First of all, I'm a huge fan of the internship program, and I'll just start with in my 31 years in West Allis, I've had 21 interns. Actually, I think Emma's 22. 14 of them have gone on to be teachers here in the school district. I've been involved in a lot of things within the school district, including some curriculum leadership positions, some district-wide committees. But the most important thing to me has been the mentoring that I've done on a regular basis, obviously. And I think it's really important that the interns that we get in our district, the student teachers that we get in our district, really have these opportunities to build a relationship within a building or build a relationship within the district. And that's a part of my job that I take very seriously. So, Emma.
Lisa has really been giving me the opportunity to be able to really try classroom out for myself. Before that, it was maybe a day or two that I would spend in a classroom, but I never really got the full opportunity to try on my own classroom or my own ability to try teaching strategies that I've learned at UWM or anything that really made me feel like my own teacher, like I could be myself in a classroom. And Lisa's really given me the opportunity. I'm choking up a little bit because she's such a great mentor. She's really given me the opportunity to make sure that I can fully become a teacher and who I want to be. And she's a wealth of knowledge. She really makes sure that if there's a question that I have, she has the answer for it, or she knows exactly who to point me to if I have a question.
So thank you. I just wanted to give a brief opportunity for you to get to know some of our veteran and intern pathways here, and also to recognize that our veteran teachers are just a tremendous wealth of knowledge, experience, and culture in West Allis, West Milwaukee School District. And we're going to consistently seek to place student teachers and interns with our veteran teachers for years to come. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dee. I wanted to also just a couple of stats. When we first really pushed this idea a couple of years ago, the following hiring season, we improved our vacancy rates. We went from 7% to just a little bit above 2%. And then this past year, we went from that a little bit above 2% to about 1.2%. So you're seeing the improvement in that particular number because we're hiring these individuals while they're in our buildings and not letting them leave. Okay, so it's just making sure that we are sort of really developing and cultivating that talent and then keeping that talent here. The hardest part is convincing them to go to other schools that they did not have the student teaching opportunity yet. So it's where, you know, they fall in love with that school. So we have to make them fall in love with the district. So that's the challenge, but I get it. I mean, you learn when you're at a school, you become part of that community. So I totally understand it as well. So thank you, Dee. And lastly, we can get the Carolyn, you left on me. It's all right. It's okay. Got your head this laptop. We have our guest voice participant tonight is Vic Sundquist. Vic is a junior at Docky, dual enrolled at Nathan Hale, volunteer with the Nathan Hale football team and other sports, previously worked with the Youth Commission and Mayor, helped with Docky's library over the summer and part of the crew that made it possible. And she's also a member of Interact Club with that participates with Rotary. So Vic, what's going on at Docky? What do you have to report back for us?
All right, so Docky, we recently had our 2 8th grade discovery nights. I helped out with one of them. We have 45 students already signed up to come to Docky. Right now, we are also preparing for our January 26th exhibition night, 4 to 7. We hope to see some people there. This week, we have our Spirit Week. So we're dressing up for the holidays. And on the 19th, we have our Winter Festival where our school is going to come together and just play games and have fun, come together as a community. one of our English classes, the teacher, Miss Bitters, has a student leadership conference on Thursday, and we are finishing up our not Thanksgiving, sorry, our attendance challenge for December. So 2 kids will win some Beat headphones for that.
Can I be eligible? It's a pretty good prize.
Maybe.
And that concludes the superintendent's report for this evening.
All right, thank you. That will take us to item 7, our public comments. So at this time, if anyone would like to address the board, you may sign up in the back of the room or in the Zoom link, which should be in the Zoom chat. Introduce yourself with your name and address. You have 3 minutes to provide comments. The board cannot discuss, debate, or act upon any item addressed during the public comments portion of the school board meeting. Follow-up may be provided by the superintendent at the next regularly scheduled board meeting. All right, and let's see if we have anyone signed up. I have a John Molding signed up. Oh, Mr. Molding, is that, it's you then? It's not John Molding because it also has a 2 L's? Yep. Okay. I'm going to get that adjusted for you.
Board members, each person, they have one. We pass them around. I wanted to have all of you see how your decisions affect people in the community and the people that's on the sheets. I received a 2.8% increase in my social security for 2026. Everybody hear me?
Mr. Molding.
That on microphone.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Hold on a second. One second.
Okay.
Mr. Molding, before you continue, could you also provide your address?
Oh, I'm sorry. John Molding, 3850 South Pole Drive, New Berlin. I received a 2.8% increase in my social security for 2026. You guys handed me a 38% increase on my taxes from just your portion of the tax bill. In 2018, I started coming here and I asked the West Dallas and New Berlin assessors an open-ended question: what is the high increase for a 1-year tax rate? And both of them, without a suggestion, said 2 to 3%. This is how my tax bill reads. As you can see, city taxes, $122.96 increase. My county taxes went down 19.26. Here's a good one. MATC went way up by 6 cents. But here's the kicker. The West Dallas, West Milwaukee percentage for the school district on my bill went up $1,060 out of my entire tax bill. My entire tax bill was $1,164.19, and of that, this school board had me pay 91.1% of that bill. If I hadn't had to pay the portion for this school district, I would have had a total tax bill of $104.19. Now you see why I'm upset. Now here's an interesting point that I learned long ago. It was from Marty Kaiser, who used to be the editor of the Milwaukee Journal, whom I think he retired in 2014. I called him one day about a news item he had in the paper that I thought was extremely racist. And I started talking to Marty about it, and halfway through it, I said, well, Marty, you know, you probably don't give a damn what I think about that racist article. And he said, no, Mr. Molding, just exactly the opposite. I'm extremely interested in what you're telling me, because when I went to journalism school at Marquette University, they told me for every single phone call I get, there are 999 other people thinking exactly like you but didn't call me. I'm standing here for 1,000 people that are feeling just like I am, and they aren't happy. This school system has been dropping students like crazy. It happens everywhere. The birth rate is down to 1.77. It needs to be 2.2 for it to continue maintaining. We need to consolidate. We've got aging buildings. You need to think outside of the box. We lost 2,099 students in 8 years. It's going to continue. You need to consolidate. You need to make every efficient use of a penny that you can, even though the penny's gone out of.
All right. There is no one else currently signed up, so I'll hold for just a moment. All right. Seeing no other signups here, we will close public comments at this time. And we'll move forward to our board reports, starting with the review of the board calendar. Tonight is December 15th, and we are having a regularly scheduled board meeting. Our next meeting will not be until January 12th, and that will also be a regularly scheduled board meeting and should include the FSE workshop and enrollment projections. And then January 26th will be the next meeting after that, which is also a regularly scheduled board meeting with some of the referendum updates as our workshop number 4. All right, and there we will now move to board committee reports, and that would be Board Member Carr, employee engagement.
Thank you, President Burns. The EEC committee met December 11th at 5 p.m. We started the meeting by discussing the staff survey results. The board should remember we are now working with a different company called School Perceptions, and some of the survey has changed. Dee shared what the survey measured, how those items were measured, and what mattered most. Our committee agreed with School Perceptions' suggestion that we use the 4 Net Promoter Scores. The Net Promoter Scores are the questions that are at the heart of change and that will align with our strategic plan. Future work will be to revise our KPIs to monitor these 4 questions and focus on action steps. Next, the committee discussed the transition of the current KPIs. The first suggestion was to eliminate the KPI that focused on increased participation in the employee survey. The metric will be gathered twice a year. However, specific actions to increase participation will not be its own KPI. We will rather part of the revision of another KPI. There is significant collaboration between the directors of talent, communication, student services, and teaching and learning that will directly impact the Net Promoter Score, including planning for professional learning, educator support, and alignment of the key action steps. The committee also discussed the KPI specific to the vacancies in special education roles. These positions can be hard to fill and even harder to retain. This, in turn, affects the entire school community and requires a team effort across departments to ensure retention. We offered support, but also raised questions to take back to Cabinet. We've asked Dee to provide the committee with our district's finalized KPIs at our next meeting. And that is my report.
Thank you. Questions from the board, comments? All right. Thank you, Board Member Carr. From there, we have board member reports of community events. Anything that anyone would like to share tonight? Yes.
Sorry. I was actually able to attend the Zeman Foundation Target shopping experience this past Saturday. It's always one of my favorite events to go to. If you're not aware of it, the Zeman Foundation, Greg Zeman is an alumnus of our district. And so for the past, I think Shelley said, at least they counted at least 23 years. They've provided funding basically to provide a shopping experience for our kids to get gifts. So about 700 elementary students are invited to come in, and in past years they have provided $75, at least since I've been going. And this year generously, Mr. Zeman, they said that the foundation did very well. So all of the kids were actually given $100 to spend at Target. So it's always really cool just to see how excited they are. But it also is that this starts at 6:30 in the morning, right? And it was cold the Saturday morning at 6:30. And we had, 200 high schoolers from our high schools that showed up, that were providing, a support to the families. They helped the kids go around. We had some of the kids providing, translation services, for the families. So it was just really cool. I always love to see our community come together like that. And it's a lot of fun. So I just wanted to say, thank you again to, Shelley and her staff, because they're the ones who organize it, along with all of the staff, the teachers who came in that morning, our high schoolers. It's just really cool to see everyone just come together, and just like the joy on the kids' faces. Even like the surprise when we were telling them that they had changed the amount. It was like the families were just so very grateful, very much like a lot of them. A few of them asked me like, how can we, can we send in a thank you card? Can we send an email somewhere? Because they were just very very grateful for the opportunity. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Other board reports.
Sure. I won't add a lot, but I'll piggyback on that. Just because it really is a great event. I've been able to be there a number of years over my time on the board, and it's just always exciting to see those families be so grateful and humbled by the support of the Zeman Foundation to allow them to do that. And again, to Amy's point, it was cold, it was early, but the number of staff members, the number of athletes and coaches and everybody that was there was just absolutely amazing. It was a really, really good event, really good time. Special shout out to Target and Starbucks for having that open that early in the morning, because it was needed with the cold weather, especially that early in the morning.
Right. Thank you. Other reports from the board. All right. I was able to make it to just one thing this week, and actually was over at Hoover. They had their winter choir concert, and recorder jam session, I'd say. So we got to listen to the kids singing, and then my son is actually in that recorder group that played. So it was a nice event to listen to all of them. It was great. He is a Jedi of the green level. I'm just if you're not aware, they do a Jedi recorder project curriculum with this, and so it's very neat. It's gotten a lot of kids interested, and the staff does a fantastic job really getting the kids excited about the excellent instrument of the recorder. So yeah, just FYI, check it out. All right. If there is nothing else, then we'll move on to our other updates, which I have none currently. So we will move on to our consent agenda. Does anyone need anything separated out? All right. If no one needs anything separated out, we have look for a motion on the 9.1, 9.2, 9.3, and 9.4. Oh, sorry. It is 10. I'm looking at the wrong one. Apologies. I'm looking at my script here. 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, and 10.4.
Move to approve 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, and 10.4.
Second.
All right. There's a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion on the motion? All right. Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. That will pass. And then going from there, that'll take us into our action items. And first being 11.1, our October 2026 extended travel to Washington, D.C. Do we have the teachers online? Yep, there they are. All right.
Yep, everyone is here online. I'm here mainly as a support for our teachers. So I'm going to hand it off to Ms. Kemka, Ms. Casau to talk through the plans for travel for FLW in the next 2 years. Before they do, I also just want to name that West is also working on travel plans for their community of students. So I'm hoping that we can bring that to you in the next 2 months or so. Team FLW, go ahead and take it away.
That is excellent. Good evening. I'm Jen Kemka. I teach math in the NXGL community.
I've been traveling for about 5 years on these trips, so I am very excited to continue on and show you what we got.
Hi, my name is Sarah Casso. I'm a teacher over at Frank Lloyd Wright. I teach Spanish, 7th and 8th grade, and this is probably, I don't know, 15 or more trips I've done.
Hi, I'm Crystal Clemmy. I teach over at FLW in the community as well, so 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and I've been going as long as Jen Kepka, so about like 5 years now.
So I have the slideshow. Am I allowed to share my screen? I believe.
You should be able to, Ms. Kemka.
Okay, thank you. Oh, it says disabled sharing. Host disabled, attendee screen sharing.
1 second. Yeah, we'll get Brandon to.
But I can just start out by saying I do know that everyone has received the slideshow as well. We are very excited that next year our trip is for Washington, D.C. We haven't been there in about 5 years. So we're excited for this year's 7th grade to go, which would be next year's 8th grade. And if there's any questions, I mean, we can kind of look at those first answer those first before we are able to kind of show our slides.
Could you check again on the slides? I think it's been
yep,
enabled here.
Oh, there we go. Okay, do this one, that one. There we go. Okay. Oh, it says I don't have, okay. So hopefully it'll be okay. It says I don't have permission for 3 media objects. So I don't know what that means. But our first trip for next year, which would be the October 7th through 10th of 2026, we are headed back to Washington, D.C. This time we actually were able to split up this trip a little bit between Washington, D.C. and Gettysburg. We used our Gettysburg trip with another trip in the past. So we're very excited to be able to use this one with our Washington, D.C. Some of the details that we have here, it would be our current 7th graders for this year. Again, making it an 8th grade trip for next year, which is why we do this so far in advance. The price for Washington, D.C. and Gettysburg would be $1,999, completely all inclusive. One of the things that is really amazing about World Strides that we use is that if parents sign up for the trip within 24 hours of our parent meeting, then they actually get an extra $100 off that price just for attending that parent meeting and being interested in it. As far as all inclusive, that means everything except for souvenirs. That means round trip transportation, 3 meals a day, admission to all of our extra activities, the hotel stay for 3 nights, transportation to and from all of our activities, and an amazing tour guide that we have. We went to Philadelphia this past October, and our tour guide was absolutely amazing. We learned more from him, I think, than a lot of our tour guides in the past. So it was wonderful. And the kids were so engaged with him. So that was awesome. There is plenty of financial aid opportunities. Parents sign up. They can choose a couple of different ways in order to be able to pay for this, including a payment plan. We have had several families in the past pay all up front. Otherwise, they get until July of the year that they would be going. So there's plenty of time there. There's also scholarships to use and financial aid that they can go through World Strides with. As teachers, we don't handle anything as far as the money. Everything goes through World Strides, and they have done an amazing job in the past working with us and working with families to be able to come up with payment plans for anybody who has needed one. This year, we did not include the trip insurance, but mayhem happens. We are highly recommending to the parents this year for the Washington, D.C. trip. There is an additional, if they so desire, a $279 all included refund for the trip insurance. So this has included, which has gotten several instances in the past, people who have switched districts. Some people have just changed their mind. Friends weren't going, so they didn't want to go. And others, unfortunately, students, like we had a student break his leg. He wasn't able to come with us a few years ago. So all of those, they would get all of their money back. So that has really proven to be helpful in the past. Some of the things that we will see in Washington, D.C. would be the Capitol grounds tour, many of the different memorials. Those can all get really emotional, actually. This year, we also get to see Mount Vernon, which was with Washington. And then we get to see a lot of the museums. The Holocaust Museum will be included this year as well as the National Air and Space Museum. The Gettysburg Battle Tour was amazing the last time we were able to see it. Being able to walk around and see some of that, being part of that history, the students, it was an amazing opportunity for them. This year, we also get to see the Ford's Theater, National Museum of African American History. We also get an Alexandria Ghost Tour, which we are always excited about. The Ghost Tours are always some of the most exciting pieces for the students to see because they get really into the spooky factor. We also get to see the Spy Museum. We always stay for a changing of the guards at Arlington National Cemetery. That's always a pretty emotional one as well. And then a couple of the other Smithsonian museums as well. So that is our trip for the 2026 eighth graders. I don't know if you want us to continue on, as we are hoping to get 2 of them. We're hoping to get our 8th grade trip for 2027 approved as well. So this way, the 6th graders that are this year have 2 years in order to save up and apply and kind of figure out if they want to. Would you like us to introduce that one as well?
Does the board have an objection to that? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So we are really excited to be going back to Boston. We went, I'm sorry that the dates aren't on this one, but Boston of 2027. These are some pictures from our previous trip. We had 100 students go with us. That was our last trip as a 7th and 8th grade field trip. We had 100 students with us going from for 4 days, and it was an absolute blast. We will be leaving October 6th of 2027 and returning October 9th of 2027. We always leave really early in the morning, like 3:45 in the morning. We get to the airport and we don't get back until about midnight on that Saturday evening. This one is a little more expensive, which is why we are hoping to be able to give them a year and a half to save and plan for the current 6th graders. We talked and we tried to get that price down as much as we could. Unfortunately, Boston is about as expensive as New York, we're being told these days. And so this is the same all inclusive, but this one is $2,434. So it still gets all of the same round trips and the meals and everything like this. But it just is a little bit pricier. However, they have that year and a half in order to be able to kind of work on it. This is the same financial aid as the Washington, D.C. trip. Again, goes all through World Strides. The trip insurance on this one, a little bit more pricey just because it is Boston again, $325. And then I'm just going to kind of slide through really quick, but these are some really amazing pictures that one of our chaperones on that trip was able to take, and she made a giant part of this presentation, and she sent this all to the families when they got back. And it had all of our students that were involved in it. They had being able to go walking on the Freedom Trail and seeing all of these pieces of like the site of the Boston Massacre was where we were standing at this point. It was amazing to watch these kids kind of react to actually being a part of this history. So we see a lot of other burial grounds. We see a lot of other stuff around the city, and then just some candids that we were able to pick up along the way. That might be, and I think that's the last one. Oh, I do not have permission to view that file, so I don't know. Okay, sorry, but it was amazing being able to see some of the other parts of this. In Boston, we also get to see go to Salem, and like I said, I have pictures, but I'm not sure why it's not. Oh, there we go. Okay, we have Plymouth that we went to. We got to see the Boston Tea Party, go on a boat and kind of dump some big barrels, and that was amazing. Then we were able to, oh, that's more of that Plymouth Rock, but we go to Salem as well when we were part of this. Plymouth Historic, there we go. Oh, we get to go on board the USS Constitution. Bunker Hill. But right, just having some of our students actually show like the enthusiasm of being a part of these historical places was an experience. There we go. But being able to be in Boston, and then also in October going around Salem was one of the highlights for the students as well. We got to see everybody. We got to be a part of and walk around all of those different pieces as far as the witch trials and things like this. So it was something. I don't know why that keeps doing that. But okay. So, and like I said, I know everybody had this the slideshow, so I just wanted to zip through these with some candidates that we had. The crab hat was very popular that year.
All right. Thank you.
I think that might have been
Questions?
the last one. It's not letting me go anymore. So
Do we have any questions from the board? All right. Well, then seeing no questions, we have action items in front of us. I would entertain a motion at this time.
Move to approve 11.1, 11.2.
Second.
All right. That has been motioned and seconded. Are there any discussions on the motion? No. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. That passes. So enjoy, have fun. And
thank you so much. We're very excited. So we appreciate
You're
it.
very welcome.
Please boo the Red Sox when you're out there, by the way.
We'll do.
All right. And then that'll take us to 11.3, which is our July 2027 extended travel to London, England, and Paris and France.
Hi there.
Paris, France. Yeah. Sorry. I'm saying and. Yeah. Apologies. Go ahead.
Can you hear me okay? Yeah, okay, good. My name is April Ellery. I am an English teacher at Nathan Hale High School. I've been traveling with students internationally since 2002, and we have consistently taken an every other year trip since 2013. We've been all over Europe, but our kind of standard go-to fan favorite is London and Paris. We were just there in the summer of 2020. What is this? 2025? So we were there last summer, and then we'll be there next summer. So every 2 years. Man, all the years just blend together after a while. I don't have a slideshow, but you should have the paperwork in front of you that delineates our itinerary. This trip is what we call an AP trip. So the curriculum of the trip aligns with AP social studies classes and AP English classes. So all students that have taken or will take an AP social studies or AP English class are eligible to go on the trip. Last year, our last trip we had was 25 students and 4 chaperones. And this year we're hoping for a turnout just as great. This time we are going to start in London and then carry over to Paris. Last time we did it opposite. It just kind of depends on what our priority itinerary is. This time we'll be going in London. We've got some historical tours wrapped around the museums. We're going to go see a show. We've got, we can do an alternate kind of side quest, I call it, to the Churchill's cabinet rooms that we're looking at possibly doing. And then in Paris, we have a half-day trip over to Versailles, in addition to the kind of fan favorites of the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre. And we will also be spending an afternoon playing pétanque, which is a game that's very much like bocce ball. And we had the opportunity to play that the last time that we were there. It was kind of like a spur of the moment thing. And we were taught how to play it by French locals. Our travel company paid for some locals to come in and teach the kids how to play pétanque. And we had such a great time and had such a great response that we put it as part of our itinerary for our next trip. I don't know if you have any specific questions about travel company.
Sure.
Or
yeah. Does the board have any questions? Things you want to know? Burning desires? All right. Well, we don't currently have any questions then, so I would entertain a motion at this time.
So move. Wait, how did this go? Move to approve 11.3.
Second.
All right. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? No, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes. Congratulations and enjoy the trip.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
You're very welcome. All right, and that'll take us to our last action item of the evening, 11.4, the 2026-2027 school calendar. This is Dr. Robinson and it's on.
Yeah, so it's that time of year where we approve the calendar for next school year. We've gone through what I would say is a pretty exhaustive process, trying to get a lot of feedback from the community, as well as our teachers and also our student advisory group as well. We received some feedback from. We're going to kind of go through this presentation as quickly as possible, not to be going over every detail, but giving you really what you need to know. So we created two different versions, okay? And we entitled one, version two. And we've tried to lay out what we believe were the differences, the major differences between both. And I'll kind of allow Carolyn to kind of talk through that very briefly.
Great, thank you. So as you can see, version 1 is on the left and version 2 is on the right, just to differentiate between the two. On both calendars, the professional development days are put on election days, which is very intentional, as we are election or polling sites at a couple of our buildings. When you look at October, there's a difference there. In version 1, we do have that fall break day versus version 2, we do not. And then when you get to November, this is another large difference between the two. In version 1, we have that traditional 3 days off for Thanksgiving break. And then in version 2, we have 5 days off for students. That Monday is a professional development day, so staff would work 1 day and then they'd have 4 days off. And then when we get to winter break, that would be common across both of them. They both have 2 weeks off. And then the last difference between the two calendars is version 1 has an extended Memorial Day weekend with that Friday versus version 2, which does not have that extended Memorial Day weekend. So we sent out a survey early last week, and we sent 2 surveys this year, one to parents and one to staff, because we just realized that staff and families look at calendars very differently. Staff are looking at workload, instructional planning, where testing falls, where the end of the semester, the quarters are, versus families are typically looking at it through the lens of their work schedules and then paired with childcare. And so what you can see with both the parent and staff survey is that version 1 was the preferred calendar. 66.9% of parents elected version 1 and 57.2% of staff elected version 1. So if you were to average that out, it's just over 62%. On the survey, we did also provide an opportunity for just general comments or suggestions. The 2 that were consistent across the board were just having the opportunity to provide input and then also wanting to align with neighboring districts. So in looking at what neighboring districts are, I'll say version 1 is more similar to the neighboring districts that have posted their calendars for 26-27 thus far. And then the major division was around Thanksgiving break. With families, is about split down the middle, with half of the comments saying they would love a 5-day Thanksgiving break because then they have the weekend before and the weekend after. And then the other half saying that's too much time off. They have 2 weeks for winter break. I don't know what to do for childcare, all of that. And then staff tended to lean against the 5-day Thanksgiving break because they have that PD day on that Monday. So it felt kind of like disjointed with, why am I coming in on a Monday and then I have 4 days off? So that was really the summary of the open-ended feedback. Another step we did take with the survey was to get feedback from the student voice group. So I'm going to pass it over to Vic if you want to kind of talk about what we did.
Sure. They separated us into 4 groups. 2 groups made cons for version 1 and version 2, and the other made pros. I was a part of version 2's cons. Could you go to the next slide? So sure. For the cons, we were kind of concerned about, like it says on there, the long stretch for September and October with no days off. We were considering it be difficult for students and teachers, and there was no fall day break. That was the main cons that we had. The pros are like we had a full week off for Thanksgiving, 2 full weeks off for winter break, and the January exam week was pretty well structured. The professional development days for teachers were like pretty evenly spread, I believe. That's what was one of the pros. And at least 1 day off in May, which eases like the long stretch of no days off for spring.
Thank you. And then I'll speak to the feedback from version 1, the pros having that fall break day, the day before Halloween, a balanced November schedule, the 2 full weeks for winter break, and then the spring break timing with the April PD days allow students for a little extra time off. And then they felt the pacing overall was more steady with exams and midterms. And then cons, feeling like it's a long stretch from September, October with no days off. Fall break is minimal with teachers only getting the 1 day off. Thanksgiving break is not a full week, and then they don't have the day after Easter off. So that was the feedback from the voice for version 1 and version 2. And so taking into consideration the survey data, the comments, and the feedback from the voice, we would like to propose moving forward with the calendar version 1, which I'll slide back to the first slide so you can take a look. And I wanted to open it up for questions as well.
Sure. Questions from the board? Mr. Lee?
How many snow days are built into this calendar?
We have two snow days.
2 snow days.
Mhm.
And have we, in the past, we discussed flexibility with that. So if those days are not used by a certain time frame, has there any discussion at all about shortening the school year in relation to not using those days?
We have not in particular talked about shortening the school year just because we believe that there's a good chance we're going to be using them this year. And this seems to be sort of like one of those different ones that I'm used to. And so to be honest with you, no, we have not considered shortening the year. We like that flexibility though, because when things like pipes bursting inside a hill, we're able to supplement the loss of that time. So far, having that padding of days has been beneficial to us. It's not like we're wasting days. If you think about all the times we had to dismiss early last year for the pipe bursting, and I feel like I'm missing another incident. So it just seems like it's always worked out in the past.
So I'm not advocating to not have days. I guess prior to last year, we had, I think, 3 snow days that we built into the calendar, and we didn't use any of them.
We used 2. We used 2 for the past 2 years.
Prior to last year. So there was a number of years in a row where we didn't have any days off that we didn't do anything shortening with the school year. And so thinking about how far into June our school year goes, and I know it can be tricky with the planning for staff for where exams fall and things like that, but I still feel that if we get to a certain time in the school year that we would be able to make an adjustment with enough time for staff to make changes to their schedules without having to go all the way to the end of the school year if it's not required for us to do so by Wisconsin state statute. Because other districts do, I know some start earlier, but others don't. So they start about the same time as us, but they still are able to get done. Sometimes it seems like a full week. And I know we do a lot of PD work and we do have some other days off throughout the school year to help with the break, which other districts may or may not do. But I just think whenever we have the ability to shorten it by a day or 2, that's a benefit, I think, for everyone involved when possible. So maybe something for committee work to look at, whether it be a policy or practice procedure that the administration puts in place to be able to look at snow days by a certain date and say, well, if we haven't utilized them, can we shift those to the end of the year so that we can shorten that distance up. We'd still probably have graduation on that Friday or Saturday, or the Saturday of whatever week we ended on, regardless. But I think it would be something that a lot of people would like if that was always a possibility for us to do. So, thank you.
All right. Other questions? Yeah, Ms. Deal.
Before we actually, I would, Mr. Lee, I would like us to do kind of gauge what other people's interest is in that. In regards to that, I guess I'd like a little bit more information before we would send it to committee to actually change something.
Well, I think that'd be part of that committee work
Okay.
would be that evaluation, but I think that it's something worthwhile into. And again, just looking and trying to be in line with other districts and what other districts do, and ensuring that we can provide the best opportunities for our students and our staff. I'm sure people would love to get off 2 days earlier if they could.
Sure. Okay. Other questions, comments about the calendar? All right. Is there a reason that we go so long into June? Is there is it because we start late? And is there any way around that? I only ask as far as like, because that was a complaint, and I believe maybe by you last year that
I
we
have
go.
a lot of complaints.
I'm just saying.
I'm starting to think you believe I have a lot of complaints.
No.
So let me tell you something honestly. I'll brag about a lot of things I get right. This is one of the things I got wrong. When I helped create version 2, I said, you know what, they're gonna love this, and they hated it. So I don't know. I really don't know. I thought the Thanksgiving break, having a whole week off, was like, wow, you know. They're like, no, they trashed it. So, but you have a certain amount of hours and minutes, I should say minutes, that you have to calculate for students. Okay. And so when you do the calculation, because we start generally after, most years it's after Labor Day. Next year will not be the case. It would be the Tuesday before Labor Day. But that's why that's why we go so late. Now we could start 2 weeks earlier and get out Memorial Day. But yeah, I know. I have bad luck with this. I can't figure it out. But to be honest with you, it messes up a lot of other things because you're disjointed when it comes to the rest of the districts around you with childcare, with you're going to have teachers to tell you, my kids' districts are not off. Why are we off? That's going to be an issue. So that's why we try to align it with other districts.
Yeah, and if I can just add to that, part of this process was looking at what neighboring districts do, and I just took a look, and the ones that are touching us are ending on either the 9th or the 10th, which would be the same for us.
Yeah.
And they start the same day as well.
Closely aligned.
Yeah.
Yes. Mr. Lee, you had
It's
a
not a
question?
question, it's a comment. So
Okay.
there's two things that put this. There's state statute that says that we can't start before September 1st. That's state statute. And that's because of Wisconsin Dells mainly. It's for
tourists,
it's for being able to have high school kids work.
Yeah.
You can apply for an exemption to that. MPS has a number of schools that do that every year. That's why they're able to start when they do. But it'd be something we'd have to do on a regular basis. You can't like get a permanent exemption to it. The other thing is, I think the number of days that we have off throughout the year also play a role.
It does.
Other districts don't have as many days, like a day here, a day there for either PD or just like the October 30th thing. Like they just won't have that day off. That'll be a school day, but then that gives them an extra day at the end of the year. So I think it's a balancing act that we've been trying to play between having enough breaks throughout the year and trying not to be in the middle of June when we're
100%.
getting done with the end of the school year.
You noticed the comment that Vic made about the September, October not having days off. Like that's a real conversation where we're trying to put these intermittent breaks in there where teachers can say, hey, I got an off day coming up. That is a huge boost to motivation. Knowing where those days are, that is a huge boost. And that's a real thing. So I totally get it. So that's another factor in here. We've also have the 2 weeks for the winter holiday that in the past has been like a week, maybe in a couple of days, but we've tried to make it to where it's been 2 weeks consistently for the last couple of years. That's another factor. I mean, we can get out a week early if you want 1 week Christmas. It's like it's a trade-off. It is truly a trade-off. And again, I have not figured it out because I was totally wrong. I really was. I mean, I thought I had thought I had a pretty child here. I was showing her off, and I was like, nah, they hate it. It's all good. It's all good.
I'll just say, I think that right there is like a great thing to ask the community and staff.
Yeah.
Would you rather get out 2 days earlier and not have those days off during the year? Or would you rather go those 2 days later and have those days off? So like, that's the thing that I don't know. That's a question that I think would be great to get from feedback from in a survey format from families and staff.
Okay. Yeah. You sure? Okay. Mr. Verbos?
I know it sounds ridiculous, but is there some way to, like, as you're talking about with those 2 days, is there some way to have sort of some earmarked days that those could be used on later in the year if they hadn't been used for snow days? Like if we get to, whatever it is, mid-April, yeah, and those snow days haven't been used, is there a way to have, say, the 2 days that are like soft marked on the calendar that would then become bonus off days on that calendar if they weren't used?
Yeah, you would have to set up a cutoff date and then communicate that ahead of time, because keeping in mind also that you're going to have.
I mean, you're doing curriculum and yeah.
No childcare, no.
Right.
So it's a lot of work. So I would probably say May 1st would be a better for me.
I suppose. I mean, there have been blizzards in April.
Blizzards in May. I get it. May is a little safer.
Right. But yeah, I mean, so like, but there could be a
There
point.
could be.
And then in the calendar, those would be soft days. Then that would become those off days.
100%.
Okay.
Now, the reverse of that, though, prior to Memorial Day, we have a situation where we overuse things. That could also be that we add back. So it could go both ways. Yeah.
I like that.
Anyway, something.
Wow. Other questions, comments on this? I do want to say I appreciate going over this and having a little more in-depth conversation than we've had, I think, for a while on the calendar and how your decision-making is going. So I appreciate that. But are there any other questions? All right. Ms. Han, did you have anything else to add?
No.
All right. Well, then I guess I would at this time entertain a motion.
Move to approve version 1 of the 2026-27 school calendar.
Second. All right. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. That will pass. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. And that will take us to the point in the meeting where we are going to be looking to move into executive session. Hang on, everyone. Hang on. Hang on. Not yet. I mean, I will be because I got to read my statement first, but Dr. Robinson got up to have a conversation here. Yep, I got that. Yeah. Dr. Robinson, are we going to go into executive session?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. Just making sure you get going into stuff. Right. No, that's right. All right. So before we go and take a break and move into executive session, the board will convene into executive session pursuant of Wisconsin statute, section 19.85, parent 1, parent G, to confer with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning district boundary litigation.
Move to go into executive session.
Second.
All right. And then Sarah, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Deal?
Yes.
Mr. Burbos?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Ms. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Kaiser?
Yes.
President Burns?
Yes. So at this time, then, if there is no objection, we will recess for 5 minutes while the boardroom is set up for closed session. Seeing no objection, we will recess for we will take a break for 5 minutes.